Okay, let's commence the session then. ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारम्भं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तम देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् कूजन्तं राम रामेति मधुरं मधुराक्षरम् आरुह्य कविताशाखां वन्दे वाल्मीकिकोकिलं यत्र यत्र रघुनाथकीर्तनं तत्र तत्र कृतमस्तकाञ्जलिं भास्पवारि परिपूर्णलोचनं मारुतिं नमत राक्षसान्तकं मनोजवं मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयुद्धमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीराम जय जय राम श्रीराम जय जय राम श्रीराम जय राम। Okay. In the previous session, we saw how Vishwamitra describes the situation in Siddhashrama, how these Rakshasas are troubling him. They are not letting him complete his yajna. And he is asking Dasharatha to send Rama. He also promises to Dasharatha that I will protect Rama. So he tells Dasharatha, you don't have to worry. I will protect Rama. But you send Rama with me. Now, although he is promising to protect Rama, we also know that Dasharatha then says, Swami, who is coming exactly? Who are you taking my son to, fight off against? So then Vishwamitra says, I am taking Rama to fight against Maricha and Subahu, who are Rakshasas of Ravana. They are commanders of Ravana. And they are in the area of Siddhashrama. So now you have to understand here that Ravana was ruling a kingdom called Lanka, which is not today Sri Lanka. The Lanka of the Ramayana is not the Sri Lanka of today. The Lanka that Ravana is ruling was towards the west of India, under what is Maldives at this point of time. It is largely believed that this island is now submerged underwater. It is not overground, but it is underwater. And at the time of Ramayana, so if you take north of India, let's say that the Vindhyas are the division to geographically say what is north and what is south. Then if you are saying that Ravana was at this huge island down south from the Indian Ocean, Ravana ruled, or Ravana's spies came all the way up to Vindhyas and beyond the Vindhyas, just at the foothills of Vindhyas, in the forest areas of Dandakavana and all these places. Maybe next time I will bring a map and I will show you how this looks like actually on the map. He had his spy network that was actually getting information, who is in which kingdom, what king is doing what is happening. All that information, spy network, was getting collected and being channeled to Ravana. And Ravana had his presence, his almost like military bases across all these places of in the south of Vindhyas, what is called traditionally Dakshina Bharata, and also in some places on the north of Vindhyas. So like that, near where Vishwamitra is doing his penances, his rituals, in the Siddhashrama, Ravana's commanders are based in a military camp. That commanders are none other than Maricha and Subahu. When Dasharatha finds out that it is Maricha and Subahu that Vishwamitra is expecting Rama to fight with, he says, Hey Prabhu, I cannot come, neither I will come, nor can my sons come. Even if even if you tell me that Dasharatha, you come and at least you protect me. Initially, his offer was, I will come with one Akshavani of army. So here I have given you a breakdown of what an Akshavani of army will look like. If Dasharatha goes with this much force also, Dasharatha is not confident that he can defeat these Rakshasas, Maricha and Subahu. He is telling Vishwamitra, if I came with so much force also, I will not be able to defeat this group of Rakshasas. Hey Vishwamitra, O Kaushika. So Vishwamitra is called by many names through the next few chapters. Just a second. Chintu, you said something? Did Daddy say anything? So, can you hear me? So, when Vishwamitra is referred to in the next few chapters, sometimes he will be called Vishwamitra, sometimes he will be called Kaushika, sometimes he will be called son of Gadi. So there are several names given. So why is this happening? Because Vishwamitra is the name or the title he has earned after hundreds of years of penance. From a Kshatriya, he became a Brahmarshi. This transformation occurred for a specific reason. That story will also come. So when he became this great sage, this great Brahmarishi, he was called Vishwamitra. Earlier, his given name is Kaushika. Why Kaushika? Because he was born in the line of a king called as Kusha. And Vishwamitra also has a sister whose name is Kaushiki. Later on, she becomes a river, and this river still flows through Bihar today. It's called the river Kosi. The river Kosi, actual Sanskrit name is Kausiki. And she is the sister of Vishwamitra. So, at different stages, he is referred to as different names. He is also, his father is a great king by the name Gadi. This Gadi, he was very, very powerful, one of the earliest kings in the Satya Yuga. Because he is descended from the line of Kusha, he is known as Kaushika. So now he is referring to Vishwamitra. Oh Kaushika, you're telling me to send my 16-year-old son. Forget my 16-year-old son. If I come with such a big army also, I will not be able to take down the Rakshasas, Maricha and Subahu. Why? Because they are the commanders of Ravana. They are very, very ancient Rakshasas. They are not yesterday's Rakshasas. They were not born yesterday. They have participated in several wars with the Devatas, with the, Indra and all. They have fought wars. So such ancient Rakshasas, you expect my 16-year-old son to fight? Like we discussed in the last session, Dasharatha, for Dasharatha, Rama is his son. He is not seeing, the Parabrahma Tattva has come into an embodied form. It is my son. This is what Dasharatha is thinking. Then he says, I, after living on this earth for 60,000 years, at the age of 60,000, I begot children. I got 4 children who I can pass on the kingdom to. I love all my 4 children very, very dearly, but among the 4 children, Rama is the dearest to me because he has all the qualities that are likable by the people. And he has all the qualities that will make him a great beloved ruler of the people. That's why Rama is even more dear to me. And you are asking me to send my 16-year-old son to you. This is really not fair. Oh Vishwamitra, have mercy on me. This is Dasharatha telling Vishwamitra. Oh Vishwamitra, have mercy on me. Show some kindness to this old man. Now he is trying to plead his case. Show some kindness, show some benevolence to this old man, this old king, and please don't ask me to send my son. I will not send Rama. In other words, Dasharatha is now saying, I will not send Rama. Now you will ask me, but Chaitra, what is the proof? that Dasharatha was 60,000 years old. You are just saying this. How do we believe that Dasharatha was 60,000 years old? Because if you remember, sage Valmiki has the boon by Brahma. Whatever you write will be the truth. Only the truth shall come out of your pen. Oh Valmiki, when you compose, by my blessings you will see everything that has happened, already happened, is currently happening, is about to happen. You will also see what the innermost feelings of all the personalities in the Ramayana are, and whatever you shall write shall be the truth. So here, see the shloka that Dasharatha is saying to Vishwamitra, Shashti Varsha Sahasrani Jatasya Mama Kaushika. Oh Kaushika, I, Mama, Jatasya, I have been living Shashti Varsha Sahasrani, 60 into 1000. So 60,000 years I have been living. Krichrena Paditaschayam na Ramam Netum Arhasi. So with great efforts and with great penances, I have got Rama as my son. It is not befitting of you to ask me to give this 16-year-old boy, and you are saying he will go and fight with Rakshasas. Don't do this to me. And then after saying this, they describe Vishwamitra's expression. Now Dasharatha is saying, I will not send Rama. But just a few minutes ago, when Vishwamitra came into the palace and Dasharatha welcomed him and washed his feet and gave him a seat, what did Dasharatha say? Oh Gurudev, you have come to Ayodhya. It is my greatest blessing. You just command me what you want and I will get it done for you. You just tell me. You just have to utter the words and it will be done. He has already promised that he will do whatever Vishwamitra is going to ask of him. Few minutes later, he is saying, because you are asking for Rama, I can't send my beloved son. I won't send. Now Vishwamitra is angry. The description sage Valmiki uses is, he is burning like the sacrificial fire after offering a lot of ghee into it. How the sacrificial fire rises up and with the forks it burns luminously, brilliantly, and you can't see it. Like that, Vishwamitra is burning up with anger. His body is shaking in anger. His eyes have turned red in anger. His brows are knotted in anger. He's tightened his fists. Now he is telling to Dasharatha. Vishwamitra is talking to Dasharatha. Oh Raghu, oh king in the dynasty of Raghu. That reference is also like a slap basically. That great king Raghu, he was such a powerful king that the entire dynasty was renamed after him. It was Ikshvaku dynasty. It became known as Raghu's dynasty. After this great king Raghu ruled. He was so powerful that he gave away all his kingdom as wealth. Even then, people used to come to him to seek his help. Such a glorious king. I will tell you his stories also. Ravana has in fact met Raghu. Ravana has seen this great king Raghu and his greatness. He has spoken to King Raghu. So that is how ancient Ravana is also. So he is saying, you who is a king in the line of Raghu, you will take back your words. Is this the way kings of Raghukula behave? Is this the behavior of kings of Raghukula? When Vishwamitra spoke these words, even the devatas in heavens shuddered. It was almost like thunder roaring in your ears. His words were so baritone. So then when Vishwamitra also says, after promising if you are going to take back your words, then this is surely the decline of the kings of Raghu, and he starts to leave from there. So then Vashishta immediately intervenes. Vashishta is not only the the spiritual guru of Dasharatha, he is also the teacher of Dasharatha, he is a preceptor. So immediately Vashishta calms Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra, please let me have a word with Dashratha, Vishwamitra greatly respects Vashishta because like knows like, right? Greatness recognizes greatness. Vishwamitra knows what a great sage Vashishta is. So Vishwamitra, after listening to Vashishta, Vashishta says, "Hey Vishwamitra, hey Kaushika, just wait a minute. Let me talk to Dasharatha. I will advise him." And then Dashratha and Vashishta, they move aside, and Vashishta is now explaining to Dashratha, "See, Dashratha, if this great Vishwamitra has come to you and he is specifically asking you to send Rama with him, it's not that Vishwamitra cannot defend himself against Maricha and Subahu. Vishwamitra is very well capable of killing those two Rakshasas. He doesn't need your help. But if he has come to you and he is specifically asking you to send Rama with him, that is because he is going to bestow some blessings on Rama which will make him well known for ages to come, which will add to Rama's Yasha. Yasha is good name, not bad name, not infamy. Yasha is always good name. Apayasha is bad name. So he will have a great name for ages to come. That is why he is specifically asking for Rama. Not only that, here the Vashishta tells to Dashratha about the different kinds of weapons that Vishwamitra is in the know of. So back in the Satya Yuga, this is during the time of Daksha Prajapati. Daksha Prajapati and his wife Prasuti have several daughters, and two among these daughters are Jaya and Suprabha. They are given away in marriage to another Prajapati. His name is Krishasva Prajapati. So with Jaya and Suprabha, Krishasva Prajapati gives birth to 50 each sons. These sons are formless, just energy bodies. There is no physical form to these sons. And each of these 50 sons are the Adidevatas of one type of astra each. Now, there is a difference between a Shastra and an Astra. So, a Shastra is a physical weapon, a bow is a physical weapon, an arrow is a sword, a mace, a spear. These are all physical weapons. But Astra is not the same. An Astra is when you combine the energy of a mantra with that of a physical weapon, then the consequent effect of that weapon is multiplied. It becomes deadly. It becomes like a nuclear weapon or an atomic weapon. So Vishwamitra has been given, because of his years, hundreds and hundreds of years of tapas in his journey of becoming a Brahmarishi, all this knowledge of these 100 weapons are embedded into mantras. So mantras are given as knowledge to the student by the teacher when they are teaching Dhanurveda. So when Vishwamitra was continuously doing tapas over several long years, at one point Lord Shiva was very pleased with the tapas of Vishwamitra, and he grants to Vishwamitra the knowledge of these 100 different types of astras. What does it mean that you have the knowledge of these 100 different astras? That means you have a direct line of communication with the Adidevata of that weapon. So whichever deity is responsible for that weapon, that astra, they will listen to you. So when you invoke the deity, they will come and they will fuse with the physical weapon. So now the physical weapon becomes thousands of times more powerful. So when somebody is giving the astra, it's not a physical weapon that they're giving. Or if there is a physical weapon, they are also giving the knowledge of how to deploy that weapon, how to withdraw that weapon. And this is taught in the form of mantras. So Vishwamitra knows all these 100 varieties of weapons, the knowledge of these mantras. Not only that, Vashishta tells Dasharatha, Vishwamitra is also capable of creating new weapons if required. He is such a powerful sage, he can even create new weapons. Here you have to know that the Gayatri mantra as we know it was given to us by sage Vishwamitra. Sage Vishwamitra is Gayatri mantra drashta. Drashta means one who has seen, not with physical eyes, because physical eyes have limitation. With the spiritual eye, the eye that makes you perceive things beyond the physical. So does that mean that the Gayatri mantra did not exist before Vishwamitra composed it? No. If gravity was discovered by Newton, does it mean that gravity did not exist before Newton wrote the laws of gravity? No. Gravity always existed. It's just that Newton, when he was meditating on why this apple is fallen from the tree, he discovered there is a force. It's gravity. Like that, when Vishwamitra was meditating on great spiritual powers, he discovered the Gayatri mantra and he gave it to the rest of the world. So the current Gayatri mantra we are given is by Vishwamitra. That's why we will always be indebted to the sages. So that's why when we are doing any kratu, you have to show your gratitude towards the sages. So Vashishta tells Dasharatha that if you send Rama with Vishwamitra, I am sure that Rama will benefit from the knowledge, all that knowledge that Vishwamitra possesses. Do not have any fear. Vishwamitra will protect Rama. You don't have to worry about anything. Gladly send Rama with Vishwamitra. So after listening to the words of Vashishta, then Dasharatha calms down a bit. He's in his mind, he has now understood, oh, okay, there is no harm that is going to come Rama's way. So he goes personally into the internal palaces to fetch Rama and Lakshmana, because Lakshmana will not leave Rama. Wherever Rama goes, it is understood that Lakshmana will go by default. So Dasharatha goes, he brings both Rama and Lakshmana to Vishwamitra, and after that Kaushalya and Sumitra and Kaikeyi, they come, they do Ashirvachanas to Rama and Lakshmana. Then Vashishta also gives blessings to Rama and Lakshmana that they successfully complete their mission and come back. Then Dasharatha, he takes Rama and Lakshmana's hands and places it in Vishwamitra's hands. He tells Rama and Lakshmana, from this day forward, till you come back, you will serve sage Vishwamitra as you serve me and your mothers. So Vishwamitra is father and mother to you from this point onwards. You have to accord the same respect to Vishwamitra as you would accord to your parents. So you have to be obedient to whatever Vishwamitra says. You have to serve Vishwamitra. This is the meaning in these words. And he gratefully hands over Rama and Lakshmana to Vishwamitra. Now you should see Vishwamitra's face as he is looking at that Sammohana Rupa. Sammohana Rupa means you cannot look away. That akara, that form binds you. You cannot just turn your eyes away from that form. So Rama is Sammohana Rupa. So Vishwamitra is looking, what is that face, what forehead, what nose, those big ears, that broad shoulders and broad chest, big shoulders, just 16-year-old. You can imagine any teenager, any high schooler, 16-year-old boy, they look fully developed, they look like fully developed adults, but the face shows that boyish charm. So that is Rama. So how did they walk out? The entire city of Dasharatha, the Ayodhya, it seems, has arrived at the palace gates of Dasharatha to see off their princess. So they all showered flowers and Jai Jaikar to Rama and Lakshmana. Rama and Lakshmana both are wearing 2 quivers on both sides, it seems, and they are holding their bow. Rama, one of the names given to Rama is Kodanda Rama. The bow you see in his hands, the word Kodanda means plaything. That bow he will wield like a plaything, it seems. Where he is holding it in the middle, generally that is the place to hold, and then you will put the arrow and you will pull the string and you will release the arrow. If you have seen any archery competitions, you will see that they will put the arrow and then they will focus, they will align the shot, and they'll make sure that the centering is correct. They will really take a few seconds, and then they will release the arrow. But Rama was such an expert archer that he will hold the bow from anywhere and release the arrow. You will not know when he has removed the arrow from the quiver, when he has aimed, when he has shot. The only thing you will see is the enemy has fallen. He was such a great archer. He could hold it from any side. He will turn it, he will twist it like a plaything. He will use that bow. That's why only Rama is called as Kodanda Rama. Nobody else has this title. Not Arjuna. Arjuna is not called Kodanda Arjuna. Only Rama has this title. In fact, later on you will see that at one particular point he will kill 14,000 Rakshasas alone, single-handedly. And after that, even Sita Mata and Lakshmana, they are shocked at the way he fights that battle. Then he comes and he says, there are only two people who can do this. Lord Shiva can do this, the Pinaka Pani can do this, and I. Only two people can accomplish what I have just done. He claims this. It's there. I will bring that shloka also to you later. So like this they are walking. How are they walking? Vishwamitra is in front. Rama is walking behind Vishwamitra, and Lakshmana is walking behind Rama. And because they are wearing two quivers on both the sides, so you can imagine those quivers are here. You can see in the image how the quiver is coming out from his right shoulder, right? So you will have another quiver also coming from the left shoulder. So from the distance, it looks like Vishwamitra is being followed by three hooded serpents, it seems. Because Rama is also Neela Megha Shyama, no? He is of a dark complexion. Rama is not fair. Rama is dark complexion. In Sanatana Dharma, in fact there is one shloka, I will try to find that shloka for you. They equate darker complexion with high intelligence. So the darker you are, the more intelligent you are. This is what the shloka claims. It's one of the Upanishadic shlokas. We are always fond of dark complexion. Draupadi is dark, Krishna is dark, Rama is dark, Arjuna is dark. So being dark is seen as a great quality. That is how they march, and they are going into the forest, and Vishwamitra takes them through the banks of Sarayu river, and they are walking, and as it is about to be nightfall, they come to the like a foresty area, to some woods. Vishwamitra says, okay, let's rest here for the time being, and in the morning we shall resume the journey. So Rama, Lakshmana, Vishwamitra, they all rest at that night in that forest. They make whatever grass is available, they bring some grass and they make a bedding for Vishwamitra. Then Rama and Lakshmana create their own beddings and they all lie down. So back in the day, the tradition is at Brahma Muhurta, you have to do your first Sandhya Puja. So Vishwamitra wakes up first, early, much before sunrise, and he looks at this cosmic play that the Parabrahma Paramatma is doing. Na? He's sleeping to Vishwamitra's delight that Paramatma is sleeping in front of him like a human being, in a human form. He is acting as if he doesn't have any care in the world, whereas he is taking the load, he is taking the weight of all the worlds in this universe on his shoulders. And he is sleeping blissfully unaware, or so it seems. So then Vishwamitra is gladdened at this sight in front of him, Rama and Lakshmana, Adisesha and Parabrahma sleeping in front of him. And then he is going to wake up Rama. So Ramayana teaches also not just dharma and righteousness. Ramayana also teaches how to maintain interpersonal relationships. Suppose my son is sleeping and I want to wake him up. He is sleeping until late in the morning. I want to wake him up. I must not go to, hey, get up. No, that's not how you wake up. How is Vishwamitra waking up Rama? He's going to Rama, he's gently patting Rama. He's saying, Kausalya Supraja Rama, Purva Sandhya Pravartate, Uttishta Narasardula, Kartavyam Daivamahnikam. How gently he is waking up. By the way, this shloka is also used in the Venkateswara Suprabhatam that plays every day in Tirupati to wake up Tirupati Balaji. It starts like this. This shloka is taken from the Ramayana. Kausalya Supraja Rama Purva Sandhya Pravartate. Kausalya Supraja Rama. Aha. What words Valmiki has used, no? Oh son of that great Kaushalya, oh great son of that great, not son of Dasharatha. Vishwamitra did not say, not that Dasharatha is not great, but always mother is first. Mother always gets the big, the big throne. Kausalya Supraja Rama. Oh, that great son of Devi Kaushalya. She carried him in her womb. No, what spiritual energy she must have to carry the Parabrahma Paramatma in her womb. So such a great Devi Kaushalya's dear son Supraja, that good-natured son of Kaushalya, Rama. Oh Rama, who causes delight to all the worlds. Purva Sandhya Pravartate, the sun is about to rise in the east. Uttishta, rise. Uttishta Narashardula, you are like a lion among men. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, no, I am the lion among men. I am the Airavata among elephants. I am the Uchchaishrava among horses. Same thing Vishwamitra is saying. Oh, lion among men. Uttishta, rise. Narashardula. Kartavyam Daivamahnikam. You must start to perform your righteous duties. It's time to start performing your righteous duties. Hey Rama, wake up. At these gentle words of of Vishwamitra, Rama and Lakshmana, they wake up. Soon as they wake up, they do namaskara to their guru, who is also now like their father and mother. They finish their morning duties and they commence their journey further. What I will do is I will stop the session here for today. It will be a short session today. Next Saturday there won't be a session because I will be traveling. But the Saturday after we will have a session again. So let me stop